right, welcome to Starting Five here on the Five Reasons YouTube channel. I'm Ethan Skolnick. You can follow me at Ethan J. Skolnick and at Five Reasons Sports. Our producer today is Manny Chang. We have a guest. I'll introduce him in a second. We like to make our guests uncomfortable. Let's go to our sponsors today. They will not make you uncomfortable, particularly when we're hearing there's a storm right now brewing in the Caribbean. Why don't you have your storm windows? Get your storm windows and doors from All Pro Construction Builders. You can find them at allproconstructionbuilders.com or All Pro Construction Builders on Instagram. Danny and his team, they're based in Dade County, but they service Monroe County and Broward County as well. They also can do the renovations for you if you just want to stay in your house. But if you have a house, why don't you protect it? You got a place of business. Why don't you protect it? And you can get a bonus if you mention 5 Reasons. So check them out. Call Danny and reach out at allproconstructionbuilders.com. Here's the phone number, 305-484-4429. Family business, locally made products, state certified general contractor, impact windows and doors, all that good stuff. 305-484-4429. And while you're in that house that you've protected and you've renovated, get some seafood. Oceansfinest.com. Go to oceansfinest.com. Get the same premium seafood that is delivered to the best cruise lines, also to the 5-star restaurants. You can get it directly to your door. Based down here in South Florida, more than 40 years of experience. And now, again, you can get it delivered directly to you. I had that done. It was here in a day, and it was delicious. Okay, you get the shrimp, the mahi-mahi, the lobster, all that good stuff. Reach out to oceansfinest.com. Check out all of their deals, their specials, but also, of course, get it delivered here for Labor Day. Actually, we're coming up on that. We're way away from Labor Day. It'll be here many months before Labor Day. But anyway, get it delivered. Oceansfinest.com. All right, we're going to talk about something else that happens before Labor Day. A lot of stuff going on in South Florida sports today. We've got veterans reporting to Miami Dolphins camp. We've got people around the country continuing to complain about Dame Lillard wanting to go to Miami. And we have Messi playing in his second match. And we are joined here by Jean Jacom. Did I pronounce it correctly? I already did.
No, you did a good job. That's good.
All right. For me, that's a pretty good first shot. You can follow him at GIANJAC305. He's part of our crew over at Messi & Co. And I'm just going to admit something here. Could have gone to the match. Could have gone to the first match. But my thought was, well, he's not starting. So what's going to happen? What's going to happen?
So, I mean, I kind of had the same feeling for like a split second. We heard that he wasn't going to start, but at the end of the day, believe me, it was worth it. The way that game ended, the hype with him coming in the second half and, being given the armband to be captain of the team. And I mean, from the moment he stepped on the field, he impacted the game. The crowd was going wild. Everybody was celebrating. Families were hugging when he scored. People were crying. There were all types of emotions. We got about 35 minutes of Messi, and I will say worth every penny. And today he's playing again, and we're excited to see him again. It's going to be a great game. And now I believe we'll probably get a lot more time. Tata Martino, the coach, actually said he's probably going to start. So we'll see a lot more. And if anybody knows anything about Messi, and Tata Martino reiterated it, if he starts a game, he's typically going to finish the game. So we'll definitely get a lot more out of him today.
Well, you just made me feel worse because while all that was going on, I was paying $15 for a drink at the Wharf in Fort Lauderdale. So at least we got to watch it there, but I probably would have spent less money just going to the match. You mentioned he's likely going to start. The impact was pretty dramatic as soon as he came in, and in some ways, because the club has struggled so much at times this year and struggled to get its footing. I mean, came over. He was the last place side here. It has felt to me a little bit like it was going to be a man against boys kind of situation from the very beginning. Like you were going to notice the difference, but It's not just him. Like he's got all his teammates from Barcelona coming over, which almost feels kind of unfair. How could you update first thing for people who don't understand kind of who's here, who's coming, what they all bring? And what that brings to Messi, because it has felt a little bit to me like sort of LeBron signing with I don't know the Houston Rockets in their current state, right? Like it's felt a little bit like that, but now it's like the Houston Rockets are adding like Kyrie and Dwayne. Okay, so just go through who is here now, and we keep hearing about Suarez and who is potentially coming.
Yeah, so Inter Miami right now is at the bottom of the league, Uh, they started off well. They had won their first 2 games, and they went on a losing skid. They won a couple, then they went on another losing skid. So it's just been tough. They've been riddled with injuries. It's just been really tough all around for them. But then, we've heard the rumors that Messi was going to come in. Was that something that was even going to happen? You mentioned LeBron. This whole situation kind of reminds me of like the big three. When we first heard that LeBron was going to come to join D Wade and with Bosch and the Heat, there's kind of the same thing. I heard Messi's coming to Miami, and maybe his friends Jordi Alba and Busquets are going to come to Miami. That was like, how is that even going to happen? So when that finally happened, Messi comes in, arguably the best player in history in soccer. He's the best player in soccer right now, in my opinion, and in most other people's opinions. So he comes in after winning the World Cup. He played in Barcelona, one of the top teams in Europe. He also played in PSG recently. He was named player of the season in PSG. He's up for one of the top awards, or if not the top award in soccer at the club level, with the Ballon d'Or, as it's known in France. So you're getting a top tier player. It's like getting LeBron, right? And then on top of that, you get 2 other players in Busquets and Alba that are 2 of the top players at their position currently. Alba is one of the top defenders in the world, one of the top left backs. We've got Busquets, who's one of the top defensive midfielders in the world. So not only does that elevate your team, Inter Miami, it's going to make everybody better on the actual team. We have actually one of the top academies in MLS, Inter Miami does. So it's great for the young players. You talk about a lot with the Heat, a good mix of young players and veterans. Same thing with Inter Miami. We've got a lot of great young players. Having the vets on the team is going to make the team better right now. So it's a win now type of a fixture. And then it's just preparing the young guys to be better in the future. And it just makes everything better for Messi as well. He's coming here to Miami because of not only a soccer decision, but mostly a family decision. He could have gone to Saudi Arabia for a lot more money. So he's coming here, and having his best friends make it a lot easier for him to get accustomed to everything and to kind of fit right in to the team.
Well, you can't get a pub sub in Saudi Arabia, as far as I know.
That's true.
But by the way, they need to. I know I'm on this kick, but when it literally says 954 on the door at the Publix, it's not a Publix in Miami. Could we just be clear? It's Lauderdale by the Sea. You could go over to Sloan's after if you'd like, but I think people are going to need to get used to that. The one guy you didn't mention there, though, you mentioned Alba, you mentioned Busquets. Obviously, we saw the impact right away and the chemistry between Busquets and Messi. You didn't mention Suarez, though. I'm just where is that? Because it seems to be that there's some movement there, at least at the $150,000 and paying for that slot. I don't think most people sort of understand how those slots work, how the whole salary structure works in MLS. I mean, obviously Messi has signed one of the most unconventional deals in history because of the Apple TV thing and everything else. But what are the chances, I guess? Because, I mean, this feels, almost unfair. You mentioned, okay, LeBron's going to play with Wade and Bosch. Yeah, sure, let's add Durant, too. That's kind of what this feels like. So what is this exactly?
So I know that we've seen a lot of rumors lately about Suarez, and it seems like every day there's another update on Suarez. The thing with Suarez is it's in my opinion, it's very unlikely just because there's so many hurdles for it to happen. And hurdles on just different ends. Number one, he just signed a big contract with Grêmio in Brazil. He signed that contract in December. It runs through the end of 2024. And within that contract, it's reported that he has a buyout clause of about 70 million euros. They mention euros. I'm not sure how much that in US that is. It's probably a lot more. So number one, there's that one buyout that Inter Miami is not going to pay that. There's no way they're not going to pay that. Mm-hmm. Then on Grêmio side, it's going to be tough to even convince them to let Suarez go. From a sporting perspective, he's brought a lot to the team competitive-wise. They're a very competitive team. In 12 games that he started so far for Grêmio, he's got 4 goals and 3 assists, so he's very involved, very productive for them. And then on the business end, it's reported that he's increased their profit month over month by $5 million from T-shirt sales, from TV rights, commercials, all that type of stuff. So he's making them a ton of money. So for them to even let him go, It'd have to be a very high amount. I don't know how he's going to convince them to let him go for free. That'd be one of the only ways. So let's say all of that goes right. Let's say he somehow convinces Gremio, let me go for free, or maybe instead of 70 million, what if Inter Miami pays you 5 million? Maybe that's something Inter Miami's willing to do. So let's say all of that happens. Now that happens, now you got to figure out a way to actually fit him onto Inter Miami's team, because the way that the salary cap works here is it's pretty intricate. So it take hours and hours to explain this, but just basically they've got three DP spots. Those are designated player spots, right? Mm-hmm. Those are basically 3 spots for players that you can pay them above what the normal salary range would be, which is about 650 something thousand. And it not all of that salary, not all the excess salary, not count towards whatever the current salary cap is. So they're using one on Messi. They're using one on Busquets. Mm-hmm. And the third one they're using on Leonardo Campana, which is an Ecuadorian striker that they're currently using. And they cannot obviously take away Busquets. They can't take away Messi. And they're not going to take away Campana, because the fact that he is a young designated player opens up 3 extra spots for other players that you maybe have heard that they've signed, like Facundo Farias, Diego Gomez from Paraguay. So they can't take him out. Okay. So in my opinion, the only way that they fit him in is if he somehow takes a drastic pay cut so that they can somehow fit him in within the current salary cap. And then not to mention, I don't know how many international spots we currently have. I know that we traded for one. It's been reported that we traded for that specific one for the 150K that you mentioned, Ethan, so that we can fit in one of the players that we already brought in, like either Diego Gomez or one of them. So I don't know if we have an extra one for him. We'd have to try to figure that out too. So there's just so many hurdles that we'd have to do. I think it's unlikely. Do I want him? Yes. I mean, to what you had said previously, it might be unfair if we bring him in as well, man. I mean, look, you know how the Heat were hated back in the day when we brought everybody in? That's kind of how we're headed now. We're getting a lot of hate. I don't know if you see that.
It's already started. I mean, it is. I mean, the Heat, the Canes. I mean, whenever anybody's successful in this market, it is a feeling that it's unfair. But that might actually be unfair. Like then that we're kind of pushing it at this stage. You know, I want to get to their opponent tonight before we close Atlanta. But before we do, you said something that I thought was interesting, because I don't know if everybody agrees with you on this now. I mean, we just saw Mbappe get offered basically the keys to the entire Saudi kingdom yesterday. Do you believe Messi is currently because when we got LeBron in Miami, he was the best player in the world. We knew that. He was 25 years old. He was the best player in the world. Messi's not 25 years old. Do you believe right now, this moment, he is still the best player in the world?
I think he still is. I think he's just off of winning the World Cup. It means a lot. He was the guy that basically made Argentina win that World Cup. Everything ran through him on the offensive end. I know that we mainly talk basketball in here. That's why I make so many comparisons to basketball. But just imagine Messi being Jimmy Butler. Everything runs through him. He runs the offense. He puts the team on his back. Same thing with Messi. He put Argentina on his back. He put PSG on his back. Mbappe, yeah, I mean, he's the shiny new toy. All eyes are on him. But Messi is right now not only historically arguably one of the best, but he's still in tip-top shape, in my opinion. You know, we saw him get into Inter Miami's game, play 40 minutes with maybe 2 to 3 practices under his belt after not having played for a month, and he looks like he just came off of the pitch playing the World Cup. Like there's talk to me in maybe a year, maybe he loses some of the physical aspect, but in my mind, he's still at the top of his game. And for those of you that might be, comparing Messi to Ronaldo, because I know that's one of the biggest comparisons, Ronaldo's playing in the Saudi league right now. Messi is playing in a league that's up and coming, and that automatically made a big difference for us. I'm excited for what's to come. Really.
Well, let's talk about tonight then. I was checking out the tickets on the secondary market. You can get in for about $150. I wonder if they'll go up or down by the end of this. Atlanta, tell me about them and kind of, I mean, what I guess, this is, it's like the great climb, right? Like this is the thing. Like, I mean, it's kind of playing like a video game and putting it on the hardest level. Like Messi comes in and he's got to play with new players. Of course, he's getting help. It was some of the guys we mentioned, but he's got to climb up the standings here. Like, we put this on like I said, on the hardest level to try to move up, because the goal is still try to win a championship this year, which would be, I mean, not an accomplishment, consistent with winning the World Cup for Argentina, but it'd be a pretty good, it would be a pretty good encore to that if he's able to actually, come to the States and do that. So what does it look like tonight?
Yeah, today we're playing Atlanta. Atlanta's currently 7th in the East, so they're not a top team. They are within the playoffs right now. That's something that we're definitely trying to do, is get into the playoffs. Although this isn't an MLS league game, but just so you kind of understand how they're doing within the league. We actually beat them in May 2-1. So there is, as of recently, we've done well against them, and Atlanta's, which is actually funny, Atlanta's actually the team that Tata Martino, our current coach, was a coach of when he won the MLS Cup. So Tata Martino understands, Atlanta. He knows how they play. He has he's going to be able to, I think, set the team up today to be able to counter whatever Atlanta's game plan is. He's very, very familiar with the MLS. So that's actually something that's going to be a positive for us. Not that we, if we would have brought maybe a coach from Europe or South America, they might have had a tougher time getting right into the mix of things. But Tata Martino has a lot of experience in the MLS. So I think that he'll do a good job game planning against Atlanta. And then Messi starting from the beginning. We'll probably get hopefully 90 minutes of him. We've got Busquets. Hopefully that might be able to, start. We're not sure. In the press conference last week, Busquets said that he wasn't ready to play 90 minutes just because he hadn't played in a while. So that's kind of up in the air. But I think we're good. Unfortunately, one of our defenders got injured last game, Ian Frey. We hope that it's a tough ACL injury, his third. So hopefully he is able to recuperate. I know that's a long process, but I think it's going to be a good game today, and fans are going to be excited. And then as far as just like winning, right now we're last. It's going to be tough to win the league, but mathematically it's still possible. I think that we've got to win there might be like 12 games once we start the league again, and we have to win about 8 of them. With Messi, after what we saw this last game, that doesn't seem impossible. That seems very probable. And then if we remember, also Inter Miami's in the semifinal of the U.S. Open Cup. And then so if we can win this cup, win the U.S. Open Cup, you're talking about Messi has a chance to win quite a few things. There's still a lot of tournaments up for grabs this season.
All right. Well, make sure you check out Messi and Co. That's the new podcast. We've got 6 members of that podcast, English and Spanish. Here on the YouTube channel, also on the podcast feed. They update you on everything. We've been running Austin wild all over the place here lately. Austin, Alejandro, Ashley, Moni, the whole crew there. Check out John's work as well. And thanks to Manny for producing. If you're here on the YouTube channel, you're following us, you're watching us live, we're going to be on playback. We do have some Heat conversation. Brady and I are going to be on there at 9:30 today. And, of course, another episode of 5 on the Floor later today. And coverage from Dolphins camp. We got a lot of stuff going on over the next few days. Thanks, John. Appreciate the time.
Of course. Thanks, Ethan. Thanks, guys.